want to get to what Priscilla was talking about, in that one of the questions that Kamala Harris was asked was about how she differentiates herself. Is there any daylight, effectively, between what she would do and what the Biden-Harris administration did? Let's watch part of the answer.
We're obviously two different people, and we have a lot of shared life experiences. For example, the way we feel about our family and our parents and so on. But we're also different people, and I will bring those sensibilities to how I lead.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Molly, what do you make of that?
I'm surprised, frankly, that she doesn't have more to say about this, given that she and her campaign know that this is one of the main questions that voters have about her. And one of the main things she's been trying to establish as part of her candidacy is the idea that she would represent a break from the past 4 years, and to not be able to come up with something to say in that moment. She continues to not be particularly nimble on her feet in a lot of these interviews, and this is a very obvious question that gave her an opportunity, frankly, to differentiate herself in a way that would have made news, that would have answered, I think, the curiosity of a lot of voters who want to know how she would lead differently. And she's not very specific in laying that out, and she can't point to a decision she would have made differently, which, in an electorate that thinks that doesn't like the way this administration has led, and that doesn't like the track that the country is on, that may not be a very satisfactory answer.
I mean, it's a delicate dance, because it's not as if she's coming in. It's not as if she just fell out of a coconut tree. She's been part of this administration as the vice president for 4 years now. She did later talk about the fact that she would put a Republican in her cabinet, which she first told me over the summer. And then she said, oh, that's something that's different. She sort of added it later.
Sure. This has been the central sort of point of tension when it comes to the Harris campaign. You are framing yourself as a change candidate, but you also represent incumbency. You were a vice president for the past 4 years, and often saying that you were the last one in the room as well when President Biden would make a decision. So it's tough to detach yourself from a president that, consistently in the polls has been unpopular with the public as well. When it comes to the policy platforms that the vice president has proposed, thus far, it's very much, it's similar with some differences in scale and also the way that she describes them. For example, the child tax credit, a bit, more sprawling as well. And when it comes to tone, you see some differences on foreign policy. I reported as well that at times she was saying behind closed doors in the White House that she didn't want to, that she didn't necessarily agree with the way President Biden described foreign policy as autocracy versus democracy, because some American allies, not all, are democracies. She more so wanted to go with saying this was a matter of international law. She obviously, it's been reported, has also pushed to have more empathy for Palestinian civilians when it comes to Israel and Gaza. But thus far, the policy platforms are very similar. So this will continue to be the challenge. How do you represent yourself as a change candidate when your policy platform is so similar to the person in office?
And let's go back to what Priscilla was reporting, which I should have started.
She isn't a presidential candidate. And they are continuing to nuke her campaign live on air. It's dry riding. There's no hope. She can't answer the question. But this might be the worst ticket we've ever seen, this Harris Walz ticket. It's going to be another 4 years of the Biden administration. And Obama on this, fourth, fifth term. That fella's trying to get as many terms as he can get.
Started the conversation with, forgive me, the home health care aspect of this. Somewhere Bernie Sanders is, dancing in his office or wherever he is, because expanding Medicare to take care of basic needs, real needs of people in American society right now, particularly the sandwich generation, is a big and important thing for a lot of voters. And she addressed that, and she addressed it in a way that her campaign believes is relatable to people who are really desperate to figure out a way to take care of their parents, their kids, in between.
There have obviously been a number of crises that the country has been facing over the past several days, with the hurricane, with the port strike, with the situation in the Middle East. Can you talk about how your vice president, who is running for the presidency, has worked on these crises and what role she has played over the past several days?
Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass. Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now. She was a major player in everything we've done, including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been, and her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
The last one to leave the room.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Oh, Barack's not happy after hiding Harris all.
And y'all check Big Mike's blood pressure. Somebody go check Big Mike's blood pressure. And tell Hillary to put that big bottle of hot sauce up. You don't need it, Hillary. You don't need it. You don't need it. We don't care about 2016, Hillary. Unbelievable.
Fall, Democrats watched her numbers drop. It was time to change strategy. Obama ordered Kamala, you're doing a media blitz. But Harris couldn't handle the pressure. She couldn't even survive The View.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
This was the one excuse she had for not solving problems for 4 years. I was only VP. I don't call the shots. This was her one saving grace that let people think maybe she's not Joe Biden. Maybe she can be different. Maybe she can bring change. And she just went on The View and said, I'm Joe Biden. I wouldn't have done anything differently the last 4 years.
You can't make it up.
At the debate, she declared, I'm not Joe Biden, and today she says she is. She even flip-flopped on whether she's Joe Biden. Afghanistan, wouldn't have done anything differently.
Shit show,
Inflation, the border.
Shit show.
If she had to go back and do it over, she would have done everything the same. If she had a time machine, she'd hurt the country all over again. She has no regrets. She must really hate you. Joe Biden was so unpopular, he got whacked by Democrats, and she learned nothing from that. She just went on live TV and said, yeah, Biden, that's my guy. I'm a Biden Democrat. Now we know how Kamala climbed her way to the top. Blind loyalty. And now that she's all alone at the top.
And Judge Joe Brown, they were saying she was hiking up, lifting up her skirt. I'm just saying now. They said the Indian senator was lifting up her skirt. The prosecutor.
She doesn't know what to do with herself. She's still kissing up to the guy she cooed. This whole election is about change. And she just went on TV and said, I'm more of the same. She handed Trump the one campaign ad that Democrats were dreading. CNN can't believe it.
I'm surprised, frankly, that she doesn't have more to say about this, given that she and her campaign know that this is one of the main questions that voters have about her. And one of the main things she's been trying to establish as part of her candidacy is the idea that she would represent a break from the past 4 years, and to not be able to come up with something to say in that moment. She continues to not be particularly nimble on her feet in a lot of these interviews.
Who would have thought The View would trip up the Harris campaign? They were giving her an opportunity to say, I'm proud to serve with Joe Biden, and I'm proud of X, Y, and Z, what we did, but I would have told the Fed to wake up and raise rates much earlier to crush inflation. And the next 4 years, I'll show you what I'm made of. How am I better at being Harris than Harris?
Man.
She's been doing this her whole life. She's not very good at it. And if you think she was unprepared for The View, watch her on 60 Minutes.
Man.
Question, because she never tried to fix the border until it was an election year. She claims she sent an immigration bill to Congress on day one, and it wasn't taken up. Well, primetime producers investigated because, from all we remembered, out of the gate, Biden signed 7 executive orders shredding Trump's border policies. We didn't recall a Biden-Harris immigration bill on Inauguration Day because Biden-Harris didn't propose a bill fixing the immigration system. We discovered they submitted an amnesty bill that would give citizenship to all of the illegals in the country. And part of that bill, you can't call them illegals. You have to call them undocumented. Nancy and Chuck controlled the House and the Senate back then. No wonder they didn't take it up. It was political suicide. The bill was just a ruse, just like the border bill this year. Kamala said Bidenomics was working and the border was secure for 4 years. Now she's saying she has a bunch of solutions to the problems she said weren't problems.
Man.
It's a long-standing problem.
Man, you just can't make it up, man.
We have been offering.
Their campaign is on their knees, man. This is it.
Are at hand, and solutions are at hand.
So the solution to the border is to blame Trump. What's the solution to high prices?
Groceries are 25% higher, and are blaming you.
Right? Prices are still too high. And I know that, and we need to deal with it, which is due to bring down the price of groceries.
Congress then never shares her plan to bring down grocery prices.
Oh, man. I'm crying, bro. I'm crying. Oh, Jesse is something. I see why this take got this one of his viral takes that happened yesterday, man. Well, a couple hours ago. You know, never shares a plan, never answers the question. It's the same every day. And now she's doing more interviews and speaking out more than ever. Kamala, again, I think she was better off, even though they knew that hiding and ducking, dodging, and running away had her numbers literally fallen after the honeymoon stage and before the honeymoon stage. But now just shooting her out everywhere, and she's bombing everything. It's just, and it doesn't look good now that we also have a hurricane disaster. You know, she got a lot of backlash. It backfired on her going on that 6 podcast, which has over almost 100,000 dislikes and like 10,000 likes. Man, on there talking about tampons. Y'all should have brought Tampon Timmy on the show. Unbelievable, man. I don't see how anybody cast a vote for this, man. I really don't. You know? But meanwhile, you got that professor in Kansas that should be put on, that should be fired, that told any man that doesn't vote for Kamala Harris should be shot. A professor said that, y'all. It's trending right now. You can go search it up if you want right now. It's trending right now. Sick, man. It is sick. How could you tell students that? But again, we know about the colleges. We know about, we know about them colleges, man. And shout out to everybody that's gotten a degree. Shout out to all my dropouts. I'm a dropout myself. I had 2 years of college. That was it for me. I know about your scam. We live in a corrupt scam matrix. Prayers to you guys and your family and your kids. And the scam of a matrix that we live in, man. and all the brainwashing and lies that is going on. It's corrupt, man. And people are clapping for puppets. Well, and wipe the man through the mud that puts us first, America's first. That cares about we the people. That cares about America. Wipe him through the mud. Project 2025. He's a racist. Threat to democracy. We should like a bug. You know, they could care less if he has another attempt on his life. And from what it looks like, it might be another inside job. Prayers for Trump, man. And they want people to clap and celebrate for this puppet who didn't earn it. DEI, not qualified. They call you racist when you say DEI or you can't pronounce her name right. Kamala, comrade, communist, chameleon. That's out of here, man. Let's be real here, y'all. You know I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, man. This is why I'm telling y'all. This is why everybody love the show, because we keep it real over here, man. We do. People are sick and tired of this crap. And she's literally going out there every single day and just. Look. Mark my words. If things are done fair, fair free elections, this is going to be the worst performing Democrat we've ever seen in our lifetime. If things are done fair.
Bill Whitaker at CBS is forced to tell the audience this. Listen.
Harris says she'll press Congress to pass a federal ban on prices.
Ain't gonna do nothing, man.
Are yet to be defined.
What is Bill Whitaker? Her interpreter? Inflation.
And that in 60 Minutes was just all this edited crap. Just release the full thing. Show the people the real deal. We know the actual answers. We know the actual word salads and word spaghettis. And again, shout out to Bill and all. And they tried to, you know. But we need another follow-up question. I'm just saying, man, keep it real. You know, they tried to make this one not so much of a softball. But again, she still bombs it. You could tell they didn't give her the answers before the interview. The questions before the interview.
Is the number one issue in the country. She's on 60 Minutes a month before the election, and the press has to explain what Harris's plan is because she didn't.
Man.
And CBS is forced to say, here's her plan, but there's no details. What am I watching? What promise has Kamala ever kept? She said she'd wire rural America with broadband, never did it. She said she'd build car chargers, never did it. She said she'd secure the border, never did it. Bring down prices, never did it. Why are we hiring a woman who's never kept a single promise? At one point in the interview, 60 Minutes was like, who are you? She's been seeking common sense. All of these positions she's just adopted are common sense conservative positions. She didn't build consensus. She's just agreeing with the rest of the country now to get elected. 60 Minutes was like, you realize you didn't earn this, right?
Was democracy best served by President Biden stepping down, handing you a nomination? You didn't have to go through a primary process. You didn't.
0 votes, man.
Really the way our.
And Nancy Pelosi said she won the primary. Hands behind your back. You don't even have to blow into this walkie-talkie, Nancy. Hands behind your back, ma'am.
I am proud to have received the endorsement of leaders around life to fight in this election.
Oh my God, bro. I can't.
Democracy.
But I think this truncated process, why people think or say who you are.
Look, I've been in this race for 70 days.
Struggled to justify why she's running for president and even why she's the nominee. And if you wanted the country to get to know you, why have you been hiding? Everybody that's gotten to know Kamala quit. 72% of her staff worked for her, found out who she was, and just walked off the job. All she does ever is talk about Trump. The country's bored by that. They want to hear from politicians, how are you going to help the country?
When you hear, the Vances and the Trumps talking about what's happening here at home and saying things like America first and make America great again, that messaging sometimes resonates a lot.
He said it. Charlamagne said it. I told y'all, man, all these ones that are Kamala Harris or more leaning left have all been sounding like they're all going to go vote for Trump. Have y'all not noticed that? All the ones that have been bashing and saying all kind of stuff, and then the next week they're agreeing with Trump. They're agreeing with JD Vance. They're agreeing with this and that. They say this sounds good. This sounds good. They like this policy. They like this Trump's policy. Charlamagne the guy, has been going viral this election year. Bill Maher. Oh, we can go down the list. They have viral takes. We have viral videos proving why Trump is obviously the candidate for the job in the critical time that we're in right now. And they come out week after week with these viral clips, especially on the Breakfast Club.
A lot more.
Absolutely.
Not sometimes. It does resonate a lot more.
Democrats see the numbers. Internal polling has Kamala losing Michigan. And now in Wisconsin, Democrats say Harris is down 3. This is what gamblers do when they're down. Double their bets to get out of the hole. That's what Obama's pulling here. Kamala's down, so let's double her media and see if we get lucky. If the bet works, Obama's a genius and he can relax with his martini in Hawaii. If it doesn't work, Biden's going to say, see, Barry, I told you so. Why do you think I didn't let her out of the White House? So Barry's about to get humiliated. His only option is to save the Senate. So the Messiah is cutting ads for politicians we've never heard of.
Building a better future starts by electing people who know you, who see you, and who understand what you're going through. That's why it's so important to re-elect Jackie Rosen.
Jackie who? The whole reason Barack bounced Joe was because he was going to lose the White House and the Senate. If Kamala was the answer, why did they all of a sudden need Barack to save the Senate? It doesn't matter. Barack will just blame Nancy. Click here.
Gotta love Jesse, huh? Keeping it real, though, man. Keeping it real. Can't make this up, man.